All right. So the difference between myself and my predators is that I have evidence they don't. That's why they had to do everything they could to prevent me from being allowed to show up at court and show evidence. I don't pretend I don't break the law. I absolutely do. Every day. And I'm proud of it. The laws I break save lives. But you don't want to recognize that. So what we're going to do today, we're going to call up a place. Columbia Gorge News. While I was in Hood River, this is the man I was told to get in contact with. But I had to come to the Dalles to do it. Of course, with the situation with my busted vehicle and not having any money because it's all going to fixing my vehicle, just never happened.
Columbia Gorge News. If you know your party's extension, you may enter it at any time. Or for a dial by name directory, press 8. Press.
Hello?
Columbia Gorge News. This is Mark.
Hello, Mark. My name is Sean Schwartz, and I was told to get a hold of you. I'm an at-risk adult who is being abused for trying to turn in a lot of different crimes that have been committed since I got here in Oregon. I was in Hood River, and I was basically lied to and manipulated into coming here to the Dalles to try to turn in crimes that were committed against me at Hood River because there's the Office of Aging and Disabilities here.
Right.
The problem is that I've been threatened, harassed, and intimidated repeatedly by police since I got here for trying to turn them in because of a situation that happened like a week ago Friday almost.
What was that?
Well, I was trying to turn in the situation that I was going through. Like I said, I'm an at-risk adult. I'm autistic, and I'm out on the streets. So I was trying to turn in a situation where it was a safety issue. Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, go ahead. I hear you again.
I was trying to turn in an issue with the safety risks of me having to travel all the way here to the Dalles with my broken vehicle and no money and no income, and to be blown off by, according to Oregon state law, when I told those people about the crimes committed against me, they're supposed to make a phone call immediately, and they never did. I'm going on 6 months of being in Oregon. I find missing people. Also, there was a lady in Hood River who worked at the newsprint office there. She's the one that told me to come talk to you. All of this is over a young woman named Natalie Bollinger who was shot in the head in Colorado years ago.
So who did you talk to in Hood River at the paper?
I don't know the lady's name. I do have a recording device where I usually record that stuff, but even if I did record it, it'd be pretty well buried. I don't think that I had the ability to record it that day, though. But it was the lady who works at the office there, Columbia Gorge News. It's in the same building as the DMV.
Right. Okay. So I'm sorry. What was the incident a week ago that you were saying it all sparked to? Is that when you came to the Dalles?
Well, when I came to the Dalles, yeah, sort of. I'd already been here a day, but the point is that the Aging and Disability Office was the ones that told me to come here and that they would help me with that. I came here and they didn't. On Friday, they were supposed to help me, but when they didn't help me, that left me basically all weekend stuck here with no resources, having a panic attack. Um,
Right.
but I was supposed to go back
Did you
in.
speak? Did you speak with them that day out of curiosity?
I certainly did. It's actually recorded and on my YouTube channel. Anytime I have to talk to a government agency, anytime I have to talk to a police officer, anytime I have to talk to anybody as far as this goes, I make sure it's recorded so that I can show the truth. The problem is that they've got a lot of tricks that they can use to prevent somebody from showing the truth. Like one of the things with Officer Rohawk or something like that. It's some weird German name. But he was the one who was harassing me and threatening me on Friday and getting as incredibly antagonistic as he possibly could, screaming and shouting and yelling over me, making sure that he let me know in no uncertain terms that I'm just simply not a human being. So
And you're saying this was at the Aging and Disabilities Office, or is this
was
an officer?
this was an officer. See, this is the situation: is that it's been the aging and disability place and the officers. I mean, I've had nothing but issues with it. That's the reason that I record it. The situation with the officer on Friday, that was after I'd gone to the aging and disability office, and they had blown me off. They hadn't done their job as mandated reporters, and they didn't take the situation seriously, which tends to happen when you have to go in alone. So after that situation, they told me that I had to wait till Monday to do something. The problem is that I was stranded in the Kiwanis parking lot right next to the aging and disability office there. Anyway, I made a phone call and they sent an officer down, and that officer decided to threaten, harass, and intimidate me. And then I let him know that I was going to call 911 because of the safety issues that he'd created, and he threatened to have me arrested if I did that. Well, I made the 911 call anyway because this needs to not happen. Well, instead of coming out and taking my report and doing something about it, the officer who came out refused to give me Officer Ryhawk or whatever his name is, refused to give me his name for almost 30 minutes. The officer himself had refused to give me his name. And basically what they were trying to do is get the mental health worker out there so that they could try to pretend like I'm schizophrenic and delusional. Meanwhile, my health records are actually on the internet, and I am not schizophrenic. I'm not delusional. I'm autistic. I have PTSD, and I also have Tourette syndrome. So if I ever meet you in person and I wink at you, I'm not hitting on you. It's an involuntary muscle disorder.
Right.
Anyway, the situation after that was that the guy who they sent out, he's somebody who I'd already had issues with. His name is Jim, and he's from the Center for Living. These were also people that I was told that I needed to go to when the crimes were committed against me, and they're supposed to help me. Well, they didn't at all. Matter of fact, when Jim went out there, he went out of his way to basically, they're just wasting American tax dollars to come out and pretend that they did something. But on multiple occasions since then, I've had to speak with Jim because the guy that I should have been speaking with, his name is Dan Tanner. And he actually looked some of this stuff up, so he's more informed. Whereas the other feller was just a bully to me. I'm disabled, and there's a lot of stuff I'm not able to do for myself. I'm not able to take care of myself. And when I said that, instead of him looking at my medical records or taking the situation seriously, he told me I was fine and I could take care of myself. This is a medical decision that he's not equipped or qualified to make.
Okay, so just to back up a little, what was the crime you say occurred against you?
Well, the threats, harassment, and intimidation. First of all, when I was trying to make a report, I was yelled at, screamed over, talked over, and the officer refused to give me his name when I told him that I was going to.
What were you trying to report?
I was trying to report being stranded and stuck here under false pretenses. I was told if I came here, then I would be able to turn in the crimes that were committed against me in Hood River, including being roofied, which happened almost 2 weeks ago now, and everybody that I've gone to that is supposed to help me with that has outright ignored it. If it was your daughter
So
that this happened
what
to,
that
it would
happened
make a
in
big
Hood
difference.
River? What that happened in Hood River?
Well, there's been a lot of threats, harassment, and intimidation by the cops there.
Okay.
And this is an ongoing thing with the homeless. The problem is that they're assuming that I'm some mentally ill druggie, and I'm not. I don't do drugs. As far as calling
Right.
somebody mentally ill, like I said, I've got PTSD and I have Asperger's, which is a form of autism. So, I mean, the thing is that that's a far cry from being schizophrenic or delusional, which is what cops keep trying to imply because I'm trying to turn them in. I have the videos of it, and
Right.
it's difficult. This is an incredibly complicated situation, and they intentionally make it a complicated situation when you're trying to turn in officers. The situation that happened in Hood River is that there was a guy who came up to me and he offered me a soda pop. And then I told him, okay. He went and got me a soda pop. This is a guy who I'd had an issue with before who was homeless. And he was trying to apologize to me for what he'd done. So he went and got me a soda pop and brought it
Right.
back. The problem is he was trying to, I'm not sure if you know what dosing is or ninja dosing.
No.
All right, that's where they put a whole bunch of LSD in your soda pop, your coffee, your tea, something like that,
Okay.
and you never
Yeah.
come back. Well, this guy, he didn't have access to LSD. All he had access to was methamphetamines, but he put enough methamphetamines in that cup to kill me and the guy who was with me, whose name is Daniel. I took
How do you know that?
Well, because I took a swig of it and I spit it out, and I literally had to go to the hospital to find out what they'd even put in me, and I do have my hospital records from that. But like I only took one swig, I tasted the chemicals and spit it out and tried to induce vomiting immediately, but 10 hours later, 11 hours later, I was still feeling the effects.
Right. Okay.
I did try to turn it into the police there, but they, of course, blew me off like it's no big thing. But I mean, I only took one drink of that, and it messed me up for 10 hours. Well, overall,
Right.
closer to 20 hours. It was about 10 hours before I was able to get to the hospital.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure what I can do with this. It sounds very
Complicated? Yeah, it is. That's why I say look up the Natalie Bollinger thing. If you look up Natalie Bollinger, you'll see where all this started and why it is that I'm victimized everywhere I go. If you look it up on Facebook or YouTube, you'll get to see literally hundreds of people who have made web sleuth channels, many of them even in foreign languages, about the death of Natalie Bollinger, and in all of them I am slandered. So I get abused anywhere that I go. Also, the stories that are told about Natalie Bollinger, they're in Spanish, they're in English, they're in French, they're in German, they're in Indonesian, there's even some in Polynesian. I mean, it's her death is...
And what's the connection between her and you?
She was my best friend. I'm the guy that they tried to frame for her murder because I was trying to turn her in, and several of her druggy customers who were threatening, harassing, intimidating, and assaulting me in Colorado. And that's how this all started. I tried to turn in the cops who had taken part in this while I was in Colorado, and they assaulted the shit out of me and then charged me with assault against an officer. Then they had to drop the charges because the officer who assaulted me, his name is Waylon Lolatai. He's got a history of assault, and he assaulted 6 more people on camera after assaulting me in 2018. So they just kept on.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And you said your name was Sean, S-E-A-N?
SHAWN SCHWARTZ. The situation with them charging me with assaulting a police officer, they dropped the charges, but it's still on my arrest record. And every officer that I encounter and interact with sees that. The fact that I was the one assaulted is arbitrary. I didn't have the money for a civil
Where
lawyer.
where was that situation at?
That was in Boulder, Colorado. That was surrounding the death of Natalie Bollinger. She was shot in 2017 at McIntosh Dairy with her boyfriend's 9mm Glock 19.
Right. Okay. Well, I have your number. I can look into a little bit of that. It is. I'm not sure I can really do much with it.
Well, the media did plenty to destroy my life. I'm hoping that there's one media outlet that's willing to look at evidence and tell the truth. If you look up Natalie's name, though, you'll see it's a huge story, and it's something that'll change somebody's career if they care.
Yeah. Like I said, I can look a little bit into it. It's really, I'm not sure I see any story for us here. It seems to be quite a bit of it in the past. So, but I have your number if I need to get you back. I think I wrote down 3. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can look into it a little bit.
There's a lot more story to it than you might imagine. I get, based on the stuff that I've told you, it's not a lot. There's too much for me to explain. But like I said, it's on YouTube.
Right.
Also, I have my own YouTube channel, and I make sure that I post up on that as well. So you'll be able to see the slander from others and from, of course, the words from me. But the thing is, that the abuse I'm enduring, I'm still enduring.
Right.
And,
Okay. Well, I will call if I need to learn more.
Yes, sir. Be safe. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Not sure if there's much of a story there. I think he's wrong. I think he's way wrong. All right, looks like we got a couple more asshats on here trying to get themselves removed, which is easy. All we got to do is take the telephone here, and then we pick the camera thing, and we take picture of Don Jr. Oh, and now that I have, what the fuck is going on here? Jesus. All right.